From fans correctly predicting Peter Parker's early appearance in the MCU, to the shocking theory about all the Stan Lee cameos that was completely on point, here are some mind-blowing Marvel fan theories that came true. For starters, it's the fact that Peter Parker may have been introduced quite early on in the MCU. So everyone remembers Captain America Civil War as the first time fans got to see Spidey swing his way into the MCU, right? But guess what? Turns out there's another Marvel movie that actually has a cameo of everyone's favorite superhero. But it was long before his crime-fighting days had begun. That's because in Iron Man 2, Tony saves a young child who stands up to a drone. And after Stark saves the boy, he says, "Nice work, kid," before flying off. When Spidey was first introduced, loads of fans picked up on that connection, because Iron Man constantly refers to Peter as Kid too. And later, this was proven to be true. If you rewatch the attack scene from Iron Man 2, you can kind of hear someone calling out to Peter over and over again. It's kind of tough to hear at first, but it's definitely there. This pretty much confirms that the little boy Tony saved in the Iron Man sequel was in fact Peter Parker. Kind of cool, isn't it? It's such a tiny detail but adds so much more context to the MCU. Like, it's possible that seeing Iron Man be such a hero at a young age is what inspired Peter to fight crime in the first place. But that's not the only mind-blowing Marvel fan theory that turned out to be true. Many fans also theorized that Captain America would become worthy. In Avengers Age of Ultron, there's a scene with all of the Avengers trying to lift Thor's hammer. Now, as you'd expect, barely anyone was able to get that thing to move even half an inch, except, of course, Steve Rogers. While he wasn't able to lift it up entirely, he did make it budge ever so slightly. Now, it was enough to get Thor's look to change from complete and utter smugness to being kinda worried. Since that scene, fans argued on and on about whether Captain America would in fact become worthy one day. I mean, the signs were all there, right? And, well, in Avengers Endgame, the writers finally proved the fans right by treating us all to that absolutely jaw-dropping scene when Steve yields Mjolnir against Thanos. It's one of those things that makes watching these films feel even more rewarding. Like, who thought that after years of anticipation, that small detail of Captain America slightly moving Thor's hammer would pay off in such an amazing way? Now, some fans think that Steve Rogers was always worthy, and he was only pretending to not be able to lift Thor's hammer. You know, to spare his feelings. Though, others think that he became worthy after the events of the film. Either way, it's an amazing theory that definitely blew my mind when it came true. Just like this next one. Yep, I'm talking about the quantum realm. So, all the way back during the first Ant-Man film, the MCU already gave fans a taste of what the quantum realm is like. And let's just say, it wasn't pretty. Scott Lang wasn't there for a long time, but it clearly took a toll on him. Now, the entire idea of going down there was so interesting that fans just knew that the MCU wasn't going to be done with it just yet. Many fans theorized that the quantum realm would end up playing a bigger role later down the line. Many even correctly predicted that Janet may be alive and trapped within the quantum realm. Then when the Ant-Man sequel rolled around, and this pretty much got proven true, as the film centered around Scott and the Wasp trying to bring Janet back. And that's not even the last we saw of the quantum realm. If you've caught up on Ant-Man 3, you'll know that the entire film is set there, and fans even get to see a variant of Kang that was trapped in there for many years. Fans definitely loved how seemingly small ideas can expand to become something so exciting in the MCU. Who knows how many other details from existing movies may lead to saga-defining plot points later on. Speaking of which, many fans correctly predicted that Iron Man would die. Now, I think we all knew that Endgame had to end with a major character death. After all, if you're ending such a massive film saga, you need to make it bittersweet, right? And well, while Black Widow's death may have been a shocking twist, a lot of fans had already guessed that Iron Man would bite the dust. You see, Tony Stark has been a very important part of the MCU since it started all the way back in 2008. Up until Endgame, he was easily one of the most important characters. And while a lot of us were hoping that he'd get to spend his perfect life with Pepper, the truth is, most fans theorized that that was just a bit too optimistic, especially considering the writers had waved a death flag around him quite a number of times. I mean, we all remember the time he almost sacrificed himself in the first Avengers, right? Because of that, fans felt like it was only a matter of time until he actually died, for real. And well, in Avengers Endgame, that's exactly what happened. Not only did RDJ's contract come to an end, but Iron Man had also reached a point in his character arc that felt like the perfect time to say goodbye. He went from a selfish billionaire to someone who sacrificed himself for the fate of countless others. It really doesn't get more heroic than that, does it? But while Iron Man may be known for his heroism, Loki's the complete opposite. And fans were able to pick up on the fact that the god of mischief was acting a bit too nice. This was in Thor Ragnarok. Loki did a pretty selfless thing when he helped the Asgardians by protecting them from Hela. Some fans thought that maybe Loki had finally changed for the better. But others theorized that he may actually just be acting in his own self-interest and that he's got a plan up his sleeve. And well, turns out they were right. There's a quick shot of Loki trying to resurrect Surtur, using the eternal flame in the movie. This made people wonder if the Tesseract was actually gone. I mean, we all knew Thanos was looking for those stones, right? And well, he wasn't just going to be stopped because one of them went boom. Turns out, Loki, being as mischievous as always, didn't actually get rid of the Tesseract. In fact, he stole it for himself before the events of Ragnarok. And we see in Infinity War that Thanos ends up getting one step closer to his goal because of Loki's actions. Now, I've got to love the fact that people are just so well aware of the kind of guy Loki is that they pretty much knew that he was being way too nice to everybody. Just goes to show that the MCU has developed these characters so well that fans are able to create pretty accurate theories, simply based on if someone is acting out of character. Guess it's why everyone loves these films so much. And while I'm on the subject of well-loved movies, I gotta talk about this amazing theory. Yup, it's the fact that people correctly guessed that Andrew Garfield's Peter would save MJ. Now, there were tons of theories about how the other Spideys would get involved before No Way Home came out. Marvel did a good enough job at keeping it all a secret, but I think fans knew that it was going to happen. But that's not all. Knowing that Andrew's Peter wasn't able to save Gwen after she tragically fell to her death in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, just about everyone was hoping that Garfield's Peter would get his shot at redemption by saving MJ. And when there was a shot of her falling in the trailer, this theory caught even more attention from fans. And just like every other thing in that movie, Marvel completely knocked it out of the park and made this mind-blowing fan theory into a reality. It gave the perfect emotional closure that the character needed, especially considering the Amazing Spider-Man series didn't really get a proper conclusion. Then there's another Marvel fan theory that completely blew everyone's minds, and it's the identity of Stan Lee's many characters. Over the past 2 decades, Stan Lee has appeared in just about every Marvel film with surprise cameos and hidden appearances. He's appeared as numerous side characters, all of which seemingly have no connection with one another. Sure, these were a great way to honor the legend, but fans had a theory of their own. Many speculated that all of Stan's characters may in fact be linked. Now, how's that possible, you may ask? Well, fans thought that he may be linked to the Watcher, a powerful being that is known to, you guessed it, watch over the matters of the multiverse. And while Stan wasn't a Watcher himself, his most iconic cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 confirmed that he did serve as an informant to them. Now that's one way to pay off literal years' worth of teasers. From the shocking theory about all those Stan Lee cameos that was completely on point, to fans correctly predicting Peter Parker's early appearance in the MCU, these were some mind-blowing Marvel fan theories that proved true.